Happy Sunday, fellas. We're back. And hey, go take a look at my website, HiFiVector.com, for some custom car audio. All right, and this week, we're checking out a really popular budget amplifier. We're going to see what it does and what it really puts out. This is the ORION COBALT CBA2000.1D. I will put a link in the video description if you want to check this amp out. They're around 120 bucks. But I will put a link in the video description if you want to check it out. Also, all my various coupon codes for different retailers you can check out. I always put them in the description. So this amp says 2,000 watts max. And on the ORION website, they don't give any specs. But on Amazon, they do show the specs. So apparently this is a 500 watt max amp. So at least they do give you the specs. I'm not sure why they're not on the ORION website. But so you get a bass knob. The kind of normal looking bass knob. You know, the amp looks pretty good. Again, this is a really popular budget amp, so we'll see how it does. You have your two RCA ins, 2 outs, typical gain, low pass, subsonic, bass boost, phase, your remote power cable input, a power protect light, and on the other side, we have our two, looks like they give you 10 gauge speaker outs and 4 gauge power inputs and 2 35 amp fuses. So usually you can kind of, not always, but 2 35 amp fuses would mean like about 700 watts. But again, that depends. Sometimes they overfuse them. Sometimes if the efficiency is bad, you can't go by that rule. But nice looking little lamp. We're going to go ahead and get it hooked up and see what it actually puts out. Again, this is a really popular little lamp. It's about 120 bucks. So let's get started and see what it actually does. All right, guys. So as always, we're going to start with certified tests. If you don't know, certified stops reading power when it hits 1% THD. So this is the max clean power output. So we will see what it does here at 4 ohms. And we're keeping the voltage kind of daily driver range. So we got 268 watts at 4 ohm. Not too bad. Also, just FYI, my amp dyno is reading voltage lower than it really is. I'm actually keeping this at about 14.5. So I'm going to have to check and see what's up with that. So now let's go ahead and do the uncertified test. Uncertified measures the max power all the way up to clipping, which for guys really cranking their sub, most of the time, if you're cranking it to the max, you are going to go up to clipping. So that's still considered usable power. So let's see if it gets any more uncertified. A little bit more, a few watts more, 273 at 4 ohm. And this is a monoblock amp. And it's only 1 ohm stable. So not too bad. It's doing more than the Amazon specs say. So that's good. So far so good. So let's go ahead now and do dynamic burst, which measures its true power but just short bursts. So it's basically what it can do for just an instant. It's real power, but it's just what it can do for a split second, like a rock and roll kick drum. And some amps do a lot more dynamically, some do about the same, so we will see. Tiny bit more, so it looks like we're at 274 dynamic at 4 ohm. So let's go ahead and switch it, and we'll do the 2 ohm test next. I will say already for 120 bucks, I mean, I think this is probably a better value than the Boss amplifiers, because those end up doing around 150, 200 watts, and they're around the same price. Some of those ones that say like 5,000 watt Boss amps. So, I mean, so far this one doesn't seem to be too bad. $394 watts at 2 ohm. 41.6 amps. The efficiency seems okay right now. We'll calculate it later, and I'll put up a results chart with everything on it with the power and efficiencies, but So far it seems okay on efficiency. So now we're doing the uncertified test all the way up to clipping at 2 ohms. And guys, check out my website, HiFi Vector. I got a lot of new stuff coming out, a lot of new big stuff coming out here in the next month or so. So definitely keep an eye on my website. Check it periodically. Got some real cool stuff we're doing over there. All right, a little more, 409 watts at 2 ohm. So definitely, I think for the price, is it the greatest thing on earth for the price so far? We haven't done the 1 ohm test. You know, there's always better, but I think this is better than a lot of the cheap, you know, Pyramids and Boss amps for the price and what power we're getting already here. But you guys can chime in and let me know. Again, a lot of people have this amp. It's a super popular little budget, inexpensive amp. So you guys that have them, chime in. Let us know how they do. It does seem like it gets a little bit warm. And we're not even at the 1 ohm test yet. So let's see what we can get out of it dynamically at 2 ohm. $421, not too bad. Not too bad at all. All right, let's go ahead and do the 1 ohm test and see what this thing actually can do at 1 ohm. Now, I think the Amazon spec said 500. And so far, it's been doing at or a little over what the Amazon specs say. So can it do 500? Nope. And the efficiency actually went down on 1 ohm, I can tell. So it didn't quite do the 500 on certified. Reduced 67.4 amps, which is not very good efficiency. I haven't calculated it yet, but I just know in my head that the efficiency is not going to be great on this amp at 1 ohm. But we'll put the results chart up here in a little bit with all that info on it. And I did try to run this amp a little bit higher, like 14.6, and it kind of wasn't too smooth. It seemed like it didn't quite like the 14.6, 14.7 voltage, so I dropped it down, and it's definitely acting a lot smoother now, which this is the voltage you're going to see on a normal car anyway, and even less than this. So can we get 500 uncertified? Man, right there. So, I mean, I'll say that's a pass, and I'm sure dynamically it's going to do 5. So that's good. The Amazon specs are true. They should put those on their website as well. I'm sure they will at some point. So let's see if we can break that 500 on dynamic burst. I'm betting we can. It's so close already. The amp is definitely getting warm. It's not like dangerously warm, but at 1 ohm, it's definitely heating up a little bit. And if you guys have little amps like that run hot, like sometimes the Scars run hot, check out my amp fans. That's the whole reason I made them, is because I used to run some Scar amps and they got kind of warm. So I do sell amplifier fans that help with that on HiFiVector.com. So there you go. It did over 5 dynamically, 528 watts. So you guys let me know what you think for 120 bucks. We'll go ahead and put the results chart up now and check out all the efficiencies and all the power ratings. So let's go ahead and pull that up real quick, and then we will get the back off this and have some final thoughts. All right, guys, so here's the results sheet. As far as the Amazon specs go, it did basically do what it said, so that's good. But man, as I thought, look at that efficiency at 1 ohm. It really got down low. So this is one of the most inefficient amps at 1 ohm that I have seen. Not that it's drawing a lot of power, but definitely not the greatest. All right, guys, so now let's check out what's under the hood. So here's the back off this thing, and this is what the insides look like here. So on the large caps, we got 1000 microfarads, 63 volt, 105 degree. You know, it looks pretty clean. DS18 stuff's always pretty good as far as the quality control. The smaller caps back here, 2200 microfarad, 25 volt, 105 degree. But yeah, Not a lot to look at here. But again, you guys have to let me know for 120 bucks, is it worth it or not? Did get a little warm. If you guys are running this at 1 ohm, I definitely put a little fan on it. If you guys need, you know, you can use any fan or check out HiFi Vector fans, but definitely got a little warm. All right. And please check out my website, guys, HiFi Vector. I do custom car audio bass knobs, amp fans, a bunch of other cool accessories you might need. I'm also coming out with some big products soon, so keep an eye on the website. All right, guys, final thoughts on this little Cobalt 2000 watt max amplifier. First of all, what do you guys think? Let me know. I know a lot of you daily drivers are running this amp. So to me, it's okay. It's for 120 bucks. Like I said, I think it's puts out more power than a lot of the little Boss amps in the Planet Audios, but that 1 ohm efficiency was terrible. Again, does it really matter? It's not a big amp, so you're not drawing that much current, but still, it's, you know, it'd be better to have halfway decent efficiency. That way you don't have to just put more load on your alternator and battery, especially for a small wattage amp like this. But I didn't have any problems on the dyno. It didn't go under protect or anything. It did get a little warm, but it did pretty good. So let me know what you guys think of this CBA2000.1D. And again, I'll put a link for this amp in the video description, and any of my coupon codes for different retailers, you know, like Big Jeff, Surge, Designer Motorsports, all in the description below if you guys want to save some money shopping. But let me know what you think, guys, and thanks so much for watching. I truly appreciate it. And until next time, peace.